Here we go. So in Tennessee, children are less likely to out-earn their parents in adulthood when compared to children across the nation. What's even more concerning is when you look at Black and white children from similar backgrounds, from similar neighborhoods, white students experience higher rates of economic mobility when compared to Black students. And we all can agree that these trends need to change. And we're in this room because we believe that post-secondary education could be the tool to improve economic mobility for all students. But it's only if we acknowledge that the pipeline from K-12 to post-secondary to the job market, those pipelines need to be repaired. We must acknowledge that there is a connection between the disparities that we see in third grade ELA, the proficiency there, and college going rates. If we can begin to solve for closing those gaps, then students of color and students from low-income backgrounds will have an opportunity to be prepared in high school to start to think about the agency that they have to make decisions for the rest of their life. Post-secondary education matters. The research tells us that 60% of Tennessee's jobs require education beyond high school. However, in our great state, only 47.9% of Tennesseans have attained a degree or credential. Our polling data from last year tells us that there is skepticism about college in general. Coming out of the pandemic, we saw increases in entry-level wages and service industry jobs, and it made people start to question, is college worth it? But we know from research that the long-term payoff from enrolling in college remains large and positive. But the economic return on investment is not always guaranteed. There is a risk involved when deciding which post-secondary pathway to choose and where to go. In Tennessee, only 26% of high school students are going to successfully navigate the post-secondary pipeline within 6 years of graduating high school. And for Black and Hispanic students, that number is even lower at 15% and 16% respectively. So there's a great deal of risk. And as education and work become increasingly interconnected, the future of post-secondary student success is going to depend on how we as educators and policymakers start to improve the alignment between education and careers. And this might include 3 things for us to consider. 1, making sure citizens of our states have access to clear information on which degrees and credentials lead to careers that are in demand and offer family-sustaining wages. It's also going to require us to think about the ways to expand access to quality early post-secondary opportunities. That's why we're here today. We need to think about ways to develop stronger partnerships between education and industry. And I have a 4th bonus. We all have AI on our mind. We have to think about how artificial intelligence is going to change the way we learn, change the way we teach, and also change some of the jobs of the future. Understanding how those pathways connect is even more important for our students from low-income backgrounds and students of color. For these students, we know that access to those quality educational experiences are going to be critical for economic mobility. So now I'd like for you to think about the high school students who are preparing to graduate this May and June, depending on where you're from. These students have a very unconventional high school experience starting off. We know that due to the global pandemic, they started high school usually from their bedroom in some cases. We know that these students are even more uncertain about cost when it comes to post-secondary. We know that they're concerned about debt. Both them and their parents are concerned about debt. We know that they're questioning if college is worth it. But it is up to us to make sure that these students still know that post-secondary education has value in our economy and for the jobs of tomorrow. I come to you as a former academic advisor, career counselor, a dean of student success, and I'm aware of the important role that teachers, parents, faculty, and staff, they all play in supporting students to reach their academic and career goals. I'm also aware that all those professionals and parents need better access to data to help guide their students through those decision-making processes. We're here today because we care about students and their outcomes, and we know that education and social mobility are interconnected. So that brings you to my son and his obsession with the game of life, which worked out really nicely for this talk. So as we look at this photo of my son playing the game of life with his two friends, we live in a neighborhood right outside of Memphis. I want you to think about what needs to be true for these kids to have equal access to economic mobility in the real world. What would need to be true for my son not only to win at the game of life, but also to out-earn his parents? If you've ever played the game of life, you know that the ultimate goal is to retire and have some money left in the bank. I think that's all of our goals too, right? It's definitely mine. So I'm not here to tell you how to win, but what I'll say is, in the game of life, all the decisions that you make along the way are cumulative. Starting with your very first decision, you have to choose from the beginning, are you going to go to college or are you going to choose a career? I can say, I'm proud to say my son, without prompting, he chose college, but both of his parents are educators, but that matters. So as we're thinking about the real world, I just want you to know that students will have more opportunities for a choice-filled life if they have access to a high-quality K-12 educational experience, support and counseling from teachers, school counselors, supportive parents, and if they have accurate information about the educational experience and how it connects to careers. And so as you think about the game of life, think about that connection and how we want all students to have equal access to social mobility. Thank you.